Yeah, we still out here, honoring our brother, and his wife. Um, I talked about how before I was introduced to brother Malcolm, how I was, involved in, negative things. I wasn't really out there, I wasn't shooting at nobody. I never really, I wasn't selling drugs and what have you. But I definitely was lost, and had no real understanding of or concept of what I should be doing with my life. I was spending mad hours out on the corner, in the northeast Bronx, right outside of Edenwall houses. Mad time on the corner, 224 from Laconia, with other brothers who didn't have any concept of what they should be doing with their lives as black men either. So we would all meet up, and spend hours, man, drinking beer, smoking, just, not really doing anything bad, but definitely not doing anything productive either. And this went on for a number of years. A number of years we would be out there, and what we had in common, like I said, was our lack of understanding of, what black men should be doing with their lives. And like I said, the intervention of hip hop and how it was used at that time. And I'm gonna talk more extensively about this in a later segment. We're gonna do a whole segment or a few segments on hip hop, the phenomena starting from the mid '70s all the way up until today. But so we're gonna do that at a later time. But hip hop introduced me to Malcolm and introduced a whole lot of us to Malcolm. And at that time, a movement started. Like, I don't really know how. As a matter of fact, I'm not even gonna say that. A lot of times we talk about the '60s and the civil rights movement and the Black Power era and what have you. And I feel like I had a little taste of that. Because in the late '80s, hip hop introduced us to Malcolm and introduced us to others. And for a time, brothers stopped calling each other niggas. For a time, females stopped referring to their, other females as bitches for a while, and we became brothers and sisters. And a lot of us started studying. A lot of us started to seek to use our time and energy in a more productive way. Partly because of hip hop introducing us to these figures, and then us getting in tune with figures such as Malcolm. Like I was telling you, this particular copy of the autobiography has been with me for a while. And I think I've read this particular copy about, 5 or 6 times. But the copy that I was given at the time, it was jacked up. It was held together by a rubber band. Pages was falling out and all of that. But even though the copy that introduced me to Malcolm was so messed up, it set my world on fire. And it made me want to stop wasting my life hanging on the corner. It gave me direction. It gave me purpose. I immediately started to try to figure out how I can impact my community in a positive way. So I started writing. I always was able to write, but never had a reason to write. But now I had a reason to write. So I started writing essays. I think the first essay that I wrote, I called it One Black Man's Attempt. And in this essay, I talked about the power of our unity, and we need to come together, and we need to stand up for one another and be there and make some positive change in our neighborhoods. And I would strive to make copies of these essays. And, not having access to the resources that I've needed to really spread this message around, I wandered into the local community center, asking them if I could make a few copies. And that led me to my professional career, where I've worked with young people for the last 20 years. I've worked with young people in the community centers. I've worked in midnight basketball leagues. I've worked in group homes. I've worked in GED preparation programs. I've worked in non-secure detention centers. Sometimes when our young people, they're having trouble at home and they're not, the court determines that they're not getting the proper level of supervision at home. So they'll put them in a non-secure detention center for a little while to see, how, if they can learn how to follow supervision and directions before they go home or maybe get sent to a group home. I've worked across a wide area, you know, with our young people in my professional life. And in my personal life, I've been an activist. You know, I've been a writer. I'm self-published. You know, we've had a cable show like I talked about in the last segment. Me and my brother Ken Terrain had a cable show that came on Cablevision for 8 years. You know, I got elected to the New York City Board of Education school board for the same schools that I had once got kicked out of. You know, I got my life together and my act together and later on became a board member, you know, elected through, you know, an official New York City election, you know, by the people in my community that had faith in me. You know, we had a group in Edenwald Houses called the Open Mind Association. We've done a lot of different things over the years. And all of that stems back to me being awakened, you know, by this great man, Brother Malcolm X. And I can't say enough. I can't say enough. You know, I feel honored. I feel privileged, you know, to have been introduced to a man like this and to take on the mission that he had in his life is the mission that I have in my life. And we're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. We're not put here simply to just exist. We're not put here to simply just be corner dwellers or to be hanging out in the staircases, you know, to be hanging out in the parks and to have no contribution as far as, you know, world affairs. You know, we're put here for a reason. We're, you know, the struggles that we go through are meant to strengthen us. And the lessons that we learn from the struggles, we're supposed to be applying it, you know, and helping the younger generations to learn what they must what they must do as they become adults. So on that note, you know, just stick with us. And, you know, I want to hear what y'all have to say. I want to hear what y'all have to say. I'm using the power of my voice. I'm using the wisdom and experience that I've gained as a human being to strive to spark some dialogue, you know. But it's not just based upon my effort. It's based upon how this effort is met by you and others, you know. So please, leave your comments, leave your suggestions, and, you know, let's keep this dialogue going, you know. And definitely, I would say, if you haven't done so already, read the autobiography of Malcolm. You know, every time I get to a point, man, where I might be feeling a little low or whatever, I go back and I read it again. I've read this book about 10 times already. And I'm pretty sure that before I leave this earth, I'm going to read it, you know, some more times. So, it definitely will help you to have an understanding of the plight and the struggles of Black America. So, stick with us.